Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard to episode 5 of the season.
Yes.
Episode 5 of Dropkicks and Attractions podcast. I am, of course, the host with the most, the prince of pop culture, and everybody's favorite, Xander and Vix, joined by my good, close personal friend and the biggest weeb I know, Big Bach. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you, Xander?
I'm doing great. I'm off today and tomorrow. Let's put it this way. Your boy's put some hours up on his feet last couple weeks.
Good deal.
But they actually give you, it's nice, the boss I said, so I was just joking around with our manager, and she's like, yeah, I give you more hours. I give you more hours so you can have more days off.
So what, work fewer days and work longer days?
Exactly.
Good deal.
So I'm just like, roger that, boss.
Yeah, I'd take that trade too.
Yeah, it's a great group of people I work with, and she's fantastic. So it's one of those, I'm not complaining.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, thank you, everybody. We are getting some amazing, amazing support from everybody watching on YouTube, on Rumble, and all the podcast sites. We're putting up, honestly, I think we're putting up some of the best numbers we've ever had.
I think I'm going to agree with you on that. I've been keeping an eye at least on YouTube. As of the last time I checked, we were up to about 15 views on our last episode.
Yeah, so thank you very much, everybody. Like, I wasn't expecting to get these kind of numbers right away.
Yeah, it's a building process.
Yeah, but considering like the last couple episodes we got on YouTube before our hiatus, we had like, to this day we have one view. To this day, we have one view on it.
Yeah, and we had a couple with decent traction, but not a lot.
No, but so that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, I'm extremely humbled and grateful for everybody.
I'm grateful too.
So we are going to get into this. Of course, get into the concession stand, the fun part of it. I haven't been watching a lot of stuff. I've been trying to I have other projects I'm working on, so I've been putting a lot of time time management, which I'm not doing very well.
I don't do it too well either.
The only thing I really watched, and I watched it because a buddy streamed it the other day. I was watching it with him. There's a movie from 1998 with Richard Dreyfuss, who was in Jaws, did so many other great movies. I don't know if you remember seeing the commercial for this, and this is the first time I had seen it, was Krippendorf's Tribe.
Don't know that one at all.
Okay, I remember the commercials for this, and could not be made now, for one very good reason.
That reason being?
Well, the synopsis. Basically, Richard Dreyfuss is a anthropologist or sociologist who studies, like, primitive tribes around the world.
Right.
And I guess his wife had passed away, and so he's basically using the grant money to, like, raise the kids. So he's not using the grant money for what it's being used for.
Okay.
So it's a comedy. So he basically is like, okay, you've had all this time working on this. We need your, where's your research? Where's your stuff? He has none. So he has his family pretend to be natives to film this stuff in his backyard.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. And before you ask, yes, there's blackface.
Ooh, that's why.
Here's the thing. There's parts of this movie that's funny because you're just like, because you're laughing because I can't believe they got away with this.
Right.
Just like, and I get, like, I'm a whole fan of the whole, yeah, if you can't make the movie now, don't. Like one of my all-time favorite comedies is Blazing Saddles.
Right, but the era it was made in, things were okay then that wouldn't be now.
Yeah, I'll still watch it. If you can't make it now, don't make it. Just watch the old one. The old one's a freaking classic. They actually tried to make a sitcom out of it. It didn't last.
I didn't know that.
That's how long the show was on.
Fair.
So, but yeah, like I've been trying to get back into trying to at least set some time aside once or twice a week to watch something. So, what about you, sir?
I've been watching a lot of Technology Connections again. He actually just did a really neat video about the difference between Betacam and Betamax.
Okay.
So the gist of it is, Betamax was the consumer video format that failed in the face of VHS.
Okay.
Betacam was a professional product, completely different formats.
Okay. Here's a question for you, since we're talking about Beta, and I do know the answer to this. And by the way, we actually used to have a Beta when I was a kid.
Oh,
very,
wow.
very young. Like, before, I'm talking about like 3-4 years old.
I gotcha.
And this is a true story. Do you know why Betamax failed as a format?
Because Sony was obsessed with smaller tapes and they got walked all over by VHS's runtime.
No. Well, that might have been one of the reasons, but not the biggest reason.
Okay.
Porn.
As a matter of fact, Alec from Technology Connections talks about that.
Mm-hmm.
There was less porn available on Beta because Beta was just less common than VHS. It had nothing to do with why the format failed.
Well, that it was also because the people in charge of producing all the Betamax tapes did not want to have porn. So the people because porn sells more than people think. I think it has to be at least $1 billion business, especially nowadays. People are like, okay, I'm going to buy dirty tapes for home, and if you're not going to have it on this format, I'm going to buy the other format. And that was one of the downfalls, was the lack of porn.
Yes, but don't forget, and when VCRs were first introduced, the point was not to rent things. The point was to time shift, record stuff, and watch it later.
Yeah, and also when VHS and the tapes in general, VHS Betamax was a format when it originally happened.
Right.
The studios did not want this to happen because that said, we're not going to the theaters anymore. We're going to sit at home. And they also just wanted to do this thing where it's like, say I bought Jaws.
Right.
Like we were just talking about Richard Dreyfuss, who's in Jaws. I bought Jaws as a VHS, which, by the way, VHSs used to be, the tapes were like $80, $90, $100 when they first came out.
Right.
Like if you had a VHS player and VHS tapes when they first came out, you had money. But what a lot of studios wanted to do was, yes, you bought the tape, but then you also wanted you to pay a fee to watch it every time. Like, basically, they wanted you to rent the tape, so you had to pay for it every time you wanted to watch it. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I am starting to collect my VHS tapes again.
Cool.
I am a physical collector, especially since and I don't want to. I'm not getting on another soapbox. We had a 30-minute soapbox last week. By the way, check that out. That actually turned out better than I expected.
Yeah.
There's some things like it's nice to get VHS because a lot of times you'll get the commercials and the trailers for stuff. And there's some movies that have never been released on any format other than VHS, especially a guy like me who's a big horror and action fan. And then, plus, if you have I have, VHS, DVDs, Blu-rays, all the different formats. These can be on streaming sites, and at any second, they can take it off a streaming site for whatever reason. Matter of fact, I just read an article where Disney Plus is going to start taking some stuff off their site.
Yeah, and Warner Brothers Discovery, right after the merger, went on a war cutting stuff out for tax write-offs.
And how much money did they lose?
I believe it was in the billions.
It was in the billions because they made... But, yeah. Anyways, so, that's what we're watching now. And we finally decided on a format to watch new stuff to us that works. We came up with a new segment called, drumroll please, Tubi or Not Tubi. Because you guys have seen before, I'm a big, massive Tubi fan. I know Bach uses Tubi a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I use it a lot for horror. Like, horror fans love Tubi because just the amount of horror movies of varying degrees of how well they are. Like, from old stuff up to new stuff.
Right.
But there's so many different genres and everything, and it's free. Like, you gotta watch a commercial, big whoop, but it's free. And we wanted to take advantage of this, and we're trying to... The way we wanted to expand with the last format we had wasn't working the way both of us wanted it to work. So what we're going to do is it's going to fall completely on the other person. We're only doing movies. I have 22 genres I got off of Tubi. We have some wheels that I've made real quick. We're going to spin the wheels, spin a number from 1 to 30, and that's the movie we have to watch for the next show.
Alrighty.
It could be a movie we've seen before, that we liked, that we didn't like, a genre we're not a fan of, something we've never seen before. We're going in blind. So, Bach, what kind of genres are you not hoping for? We know what you do like. What genres are you not hoping for?
Honestly, there's not a whole lot I won't watch, but if I had to say one genre I don't want to see, I'd probably say horror, I guess.
Okay, horror. And we're not saying we won't watch those genres. Those are like our least favorite.
Right.
We're going to watch anything, regardless of what spins, we will watch that. Myself, not a big rom-com, not a big romance, melodrama kind of guy. I'm just like, bleh. But going off the genres for Tubi, these are the genres that we're going to be spinning, is action, anime, art house films based on true events, classics, comedy, documentaries, which I do like a good documentary myself, drama, family movies, which can be really good or really bad, film noir, which I like. A good film noir movie I'm a big fan of, foreign movies, horror, indie, Italian horror / giallo actually has its own genre entry, which is I'm surprised in, martial arts, romance, sci-fi and fantasy, sports movies, sword and sorcery, which I'm excited for, thrillers, true crime, and westerns, which a lot of people don't know. I'm actually a fan of western movies.
I don't think I knew that either.
Yeah, I can't, the books I can't really get into, but I watch a good Cowboys and Indians movie.
Gotcha.
So, we're going to go ahead and Bach's going to be the first one to spin the wheel. What genre would you like it to land on today? What are you feeling?
Today I'm feeling sword and sorcery.
Sword and sorcery. Okay, we're spinning now. And then once we get the genre, I have another wheel for 1, 2, 30, and we'll pick it. Oh, you almost landed on anime. Almost.
Ooh.
You landed on art house.
Alrighty.
This could either get really fun or really pretentious. But you were like, doot, 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 doot.
Like it just takes over that last little bit like you see on The Price is Right.
You almost got anime. So we're going to pull up the art house movies. Like, not necessarily art house is like always pretentious stuff. Like, it's just stuff you would normally see at like the smaller theaters.
Gotcha.
We're going to spin 1 to 30. What number are you hoping for?
4 always wins.
4 always wins. We'll find out. You have a 1 in 30 chance. And not winning today. You got 13.
Triskaideka.
Triskaidekaphobia.
I'm not afraid of it. That's why I omitted the phobia part.
Okay, so 13. So we got 6, 12. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of jealous, sir.
Alrighty, what have we rolled?
You are going to be watching for next week. Attack the Block.
The name sounds familiar, but I don't know anything. I don't think I know anything about it.
This is a movie from England. Stars a pre-Star Wars John Boyega.
Ooh.
And basically what this is a bunch of, I believe, the hoodlums type ruffians from England. This is in England.
Okay.
And they're a gang, and they have to defend their neighborhood from aliens. They're turned their apartment complex, and they defend their neighborhood against aliens.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Not only is it John Boyega, it has Jodie Whittaker, the 12th or 13th Doctor. Who was that, the 13th Doctor?
I believe she's the 13th, yes.
13th Doctor. So yeah, you have somebody from Star Wars and somebody from Doctor Who in this movie about a gang in England who defend their apartment complex from an alien invasion.
I'm looking forward to this.
Not gonna lie, I've been wanting to watch that for a while, so... I mean, I can watch it whenever I want, fair.
Right.
But I'm kind of jealous that's the first movie you got. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna watch that next week and let us know what you thought about it?
Yep.
In your own special way.
And I'm looking, like I keep saying, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's one on my list. I'm not the biggest sci-fi guy, but I like a good, it looks like my kind of movie. Okay, for me. Spin, 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 spin. Drum roll, please. Ooh. Oh. Oh, it did it to me, too. Damn it.
F.
Yeah, I almost got a film noir, but I landed on foreign film. So I get to watch a foreign film for next week. And the number, 1 to 30, 17. First number that popped in my head. Am I getting it? Oh, I almost got it. It landed on 18. So I go to foreign films. And like I said, these are all on Tubi. So you guys want to watch along with us, we'll put the trailers in the Twitter page. And you guys are going to watch along with us. So I got number 18. So 3, 6, there's 12, 18. Oh, no. Oh, no.
You roll a bad one?
Well, I mean, I don't know until I watch it, but I've rolled a movie called Romance.
Oh, dear.
A foreign romance, and this does not look like a... Oh, no. Oh, no. One, this is from 1999.
Okay.
Oh, no. Are you ready for the synopsis?
I'm ready.
A school teacher's frustration with the lack of intimacy in her relationship leads her to seek out excitement through a series of sexual adventures.
Oh, God.
That is not me.
No, not even close.
You get a cool movie I do want to see, and I get a foreign sex movie.
Yay.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of boobies in this. Oh, no. Oh, no. Wait, is she doing what I think she's doing? No, okay. Oh, yeah, there's boobs. I'm going through the whole timeline real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is he tying her up? Oh, my God, is he tying her up? Oh, my God, what did I get myself into? Oh, no. And somebody dies at the end. Oh, no. Well, I'm watching that movie for next week. Well, sometimes the wheel's good, sometimes the wheel's naughty. And we got both of those this week. So once again, Bach is watching Attack the Block. You want to switch?
No, thank you.
Okay. And I'm watching Romance. I believe these are French. Looks like some French actors from 1999. You know what? You know how I can tell this is not going to be a movie I would typically watch?
How can you tell?
I'm scrolling down, and it has You May Also Like, right?
Right.
We have Skin, A History of Nudity in the Movies. I honestly would watch that. I would be interested in that. It's a documentary. I would be interested in that, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
There's a foreign movie called My Sex Doll.
Oh, God.
Darker Shades of Elise. The Sex Monster. The Maid. And Diarrhea of a Nymphomaniac.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Anyways, that's what we're doing.
Alrighty, moving right along.
Moving right along. Should we go ahead and get into the wrestling, please? Please?
Yes, that sounds good.
Okay, thankfully. Thank you. I have never been more grateful to talk to you in my life right now.
Hey!
But once again, it's all in fun. We're going to watch these movies whether we want to or not. Not that we want to or not, but, we're trying to expand.
Right.
Maybe this is a great movie. Maybe I will like it. I highly doubt it, but you never know.
Right, that's the point of the wheel thing.
Yep, one of these days I'll get an Attack of the Block movie I want to watch, and one of these days he's going to get a movie that he's just like, oh no. Like, I want him to watch a giallo Italian horror movie.
Alrighty, so...
Yep, let's dive into the wrestling. We are on Monday Night Raw of April 26, 1993. We are back at the Hammerstein Ballroom. The Manhattan Center. The Hammerstein Ballroom is at the Manhattan Center. They're completely different things.
Right.
The Manhattan Center in New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, we get one of my favorite people of all time in wrestling. Fucking Bobby the Brain Heenan.
You've talked about how much you love his style before.
Oh, yeah, and now you understand.
Yes.
So we go right into it. Our first match of the night. Mr. Perfect versus Damien Demento. And I didn't mention this when we had the Damien Demento-Jim Brunzell match a couple weeks ago. Because I like, me, I learn tidbits, and I like to see how, the whole basis of the podcast is to show how wrestling and pop culture is mixed together. Hence the double helix. I found out that Damien Demento had done a few movie roles after he had left wrestling.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and one of them, speaking of New York City, was he was one of the goons for the main bad guy in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Really?
And he was important enough that he had a name. It wasn't Goon number 2.
What was the name?
I don't have it here in front of me, but yeah, Die Hard with a Vengeance. That's the third one that had Samuel L. Jackson in it. It's a great movie. The first three are great.
Yeah.
We won't talk about the fourth one, and I heard the fifth one's actually even worse than the fourth one.
Yeah. I've seen Die Hard 2 and Die Hard 3 all the way through. I've never seen the first one at all.
Oh, the first one's the great Christmas movie. And I know there's a discussion about whether Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I have a system that I use that proves that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
And I think you've told me about it, but why don't you share?
Okay. Here, when it comes to Christmas movies, I'm going to use Die Hard and another classic action movie, Lethal Weapon, as an example.
Okay.
A big fan of the Lethal Weapon quadrilogy. All four of them are good. Anyways, when it comes to non-traditional holiday movies, or movies that take place during the holidays. See, look at this. We're going off on a tangent already, and we're 20 minutes into raw footage. We're already going off on a tangent. I'll try to keep this one short.
All right.
When it comes to Christmas, like non-traditional Christmas movies, as in the ones that aren't obvious, if it takes place during the holiday season, like Die Hard does, if you strip away any of the holiday stuff, could the movie still happen?
Right.
With Die Hard, and even though Bruce Willis says that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, even though he's in the movie, he's wrong. The the reason why he's visiting his wife in Los Angeles at Nakatomi Plaza.
Like I said, I haven't actually seen Die Hard 1, but if I recall right, he's trying to reconcile over Christmas.
Exactly. So he's traveling, and they're having an office party on Christmas Eve. So he's traveling to Los Angeles to work on his marriage with his wife and kids in Los Angeles. So why is he traveling to L.A.?
Because it's Christmas.
So if we take away Christmas, could that movie have happened? Would he be flying to L.A. if it wasn't Christmas?
His motivation would have to be different, but it could work, but I understand what you're saying.
So, but I'm just saying, if I strip away Christmas, does he have any reason to be there at that point?
No.
So it is a Christmas movie because Christmas is a pivotal part of that movie.
Right.
Okay. Now we go to, I think it came out in 86, 87, the first Lethal Weapon. Once again, absolutely adore the quadrilogy. I would like to watch the TV show that came out, but the 4 movies are fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them.
Okay. A lot of people forget. First Lethal Weapon takes place during Christmas. Most people don't even remember that. You can take away Christmas, that plot does not change. Christmas does not play in a role. Any of the events that happen in that movie do not need Christmas or the holiday to advance the plot line.
Right, but in Die Hard, that's where the part of the motivation comes from, so that's why you call it a Christmas movie.
Exactly. So therefore, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Lethal Weapon is not. So if you take any of these movies that take place during the holiday season, whatever holiday it may be, not to say Christmas, but any sort of holiday, celebratory end-of-the-year holiday, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, anything. If you take away any mention of that holiday and part of the plot cannot happen, or not to say cannot, but would not happen because of that, it's a holiday movie.
Got it.
That's why Die Hard is a Christmas movie. What? A tangent about movies? What?
That's kind of your brand at this point.
I mean, fair. So anyways, but yeah. So and they do mention where Rob's at. Randy Savage is like, oh, well, you see, Rob Bartlett's on here. I wish he was here. And I'm like, Randy, stop. Stop it, Randy. I love you, Randy. I'm a huge fan. But no.
No, we don't need Rob Bartlett back.
Basically, what their excuse of why Rob Bartlett is never seen and why he gets Thanos snapped is Bobby Heenan is now part of the commentary team. Rob Bartlett didn't want a part of that, so he quit. And that's it. We never hear they don't talk about it again the rest of the episode.
Yeah, we talked a little bit last week about what Bartlett is up to these days. He's doing well. Good for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, he's doing a lot of good charity work. He's done Broadway. He's done a lot of acting. So he's keeping busy. So obviously, good for him. We as much as we don't like him as a commentator, we don't wish him any ill will.
Right. Just because we don't like his commentary doesn't mean we don't like him as a person.
No, because like I said, by all intents and purposes, it's like he's doing great, and obviously we wish him the best of luck with everything he's doing.
Absolutely.
So we get to this match, and I noticed that when Damien powdered out at the beginning, you can audibly hear him say, "Do you hear the voices? Do you hear the voices? Do you hear the voices?" And we're like, "No, Damien, we don't."
Yeah, I could hear him saying that too.
Yeah, and I just like I said, I'm not gonna try to dig on Rob Bartlett much anymore now that he's gone. But when you see how what Rob Bartlett was trying to do, and then what Bobby Heenan did,
night and day.
Yeah, there were so many times I was smiling and snickering the whole time watching this episode. We have already established my favorite commentary duo is Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon.
Yeah, and back in season 1, I saw them together at the Royal Rumble. That was awesome.
Yeah. But like I said, this was nothing basic. Nothing really happened. There was one point where Damien Demento throws out Mr. Perfect and he wipes out a cameraman. And props to the cameraman who laid there with the camera on the floor and still filmed. Like, props to that man.
Yeah, the cameraman getting down actually provided a really good angle for Mr. Perfect getting back up on the apron and being accosted by Damien Demento.
Yeah. And then, he started throwing some of those chops, and I was like, oh, those are some sturdy sounding chops.
Yeah, there was also a instance where Mr. Perfect got whipped from one corner to the other, and he sold the fuck out of it.
Oh, that's what he did. Like, just watch any Mr. Perfect match. Like, that was one of the things he would do. He would sell like crazy for you like that. Like, that was just one of the things he used to do.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of that match, the way he sold stuff.
Yeah, and like, he was one of the guys, when I was training, once again, for those that don't know, I did train at House of Glory in New York City for a while. By the way, they have Matt Cardona in their next show. Good for them.
That's the former Zack Ryder, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Matt Cardona's not cheap. But anyways, a lot of things, I took a lot of things from Mr. Perfect. Like, I would watch a lot of his stuff to learn to do chains. I was working on having a dirty fisherman suplex. The neck snap he did at Damien Demento was one of my moves I used to do a lot.
Was that the one that looked like natural selection?
Yeah. But once again, when he got the knees up on a splash, he did the neck snap, perfect plex, and we're over.
All right, that was just about 5 minutes, a little under. And I always like bridging pins.
Yeah, But yeah, he was the reason I did a fisherman suplex all the time.
Right.
One of the matches I used to watch when I was training to make sure I could get the timing down, the hand placement, everything down, was the match Survivor Series '92. It was him and Savage versus Razor Ramon and Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a nice good up close of him hitting the suplex, so I would watch it, rewind it, watch it, rewind it, watch it.
Right. See how he moved his body.
Yep, and then make sure, I would clasp the hands together at the right time. And it was one of those where it was like, okay, do it again. Okay, do it again. Okay, do it. When I was trained, I was like, I would like to learn how to do this. This is who I was watching do it. So they picked one of the guys up, and he's like, all right, do it. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. I bet I suplexed that dude like 12 times.
Repetition is key for developing.
Yeah, they're like, because when it came to training, our trainers were like, either you do it perfect. If you don't do it perfect in training, we're sure as hell not letting you do anything in the ring.
Right.
And we get to this cool thing, and one of the things that, say what you will about their blood money or anything else WWF, WWE does, good or bad. One of the things you can always give them props for is they do a lot with children.
Right.
Whether it's visiting schools to give them, talking to the kids about doing the right thing. They do a lot with Special Olympics. They have the Connor's Cure charity now where they do a lot for children's cancer. They love doing stuff with kids, and you can never fault them for. Matter of fact, look at Make-A-Wish.
Yeah, John Cena is what the top grantor of all time.
Yeah, by not even close, and it's not even close. I think he hit 650, and he's got at least a couple hundred more than the next place. So they go to this thing, and I guess the Randy Savage went to visit a school, and they cut to the scene where it's just this girl reading a poem or a short story about the perils of doing drugs, where it's like, so she's at a funeral, all her family members are mourning her. And I was like, oh, this is kind of nice, nice to give the girl a little bit of shine with the poem. I don't know where the Undertaker shows up.
Yeah, that was a little creepy.
And if the Undertaker tells you not to do drugs, are you going to?
Absolutely not. Yeah, all right, I looked it up real quick. John Cena has granted 650 wishes as of last November.
Yeah, and I think the number 2's not even remotely close. Matter of fact, look that up real quick. Who's number 2?
Guinness World Records says on the same article I found, no one else has granted more than 200.
So he's done 400 more than second place.
Yeah, 3 times as many. More than 3 times.
Yeah, so... By the way, I have met John Cena before. Very, very nice guy.
Oh, cool. I don't think you've told us that story.
Oh, I've told you before in private before. It's not a big story. It's nothing, relevant. But I'm just like... He's like legitimately a nice guy in real life. That's not just...
It's not an act.
No, he's a very nice guy. So we get back from commercial, and Bobby doing Bobby, talking about how there's a couple in the crowd, and the man's going to propose to her today. And once again, just Bobby ragging on him, and the way he does it, you're just like, Bobby, I fucking love you.
I already appreciated him just from the Royal Rumble, but I'm sure it's going to get even... It will deepen as he continues on Raw.
My brother in Christ, you have no idea how good... Just, not even just here, just look up Bobby Heenan promos in general. I'll put up a couple I like.
Was he ever a wrestler, or was he only ever a manager?
Actually, no, way back in the day, he actually was a wrestler, and he actually wasn't bad. And I don't know whether it was just timing or injuries or whatever. I don't know the exact cause. But no, he was up in the Minnesota area. He was actually a halfway decent wrestler.
Cool.
And then just became a manager, and then that's what, he's in the Hall of Fame for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of my favorite promos, when he was just him talking about how he used to have a stable called the Heenan family. It was mainly back in the 80s.
Okay.
Where you would have guys like Haku, the Barbarian, Rick Rude, all this. And he was the kind of guy that, a lot of his guys would have titles at some point. And there was always this one line I always remembered. He's like, if you stick with me, I'll take you straight to the top. If not, you're never seen again.
Right.
He was so good at what he did. And then the few times he wrestled, it was just the way he was able to sell it, and just the way it was like, there was a match he did against the Big Boss Man, which was great. You know what? We'll find some Bobby Heenan stuff to put up this week to celebrate him being on Raw.
Alrighty.
Both of us will put up some Bobby Heenan stuff we like.
Yeah, I'll find some stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've already got a few you could put up.
Oh, I'm sure, because when I was training to be a wrestler, I did a lot of managing at the time too.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of them I watched constantly.
Gotcha.
So, if anybody loves him, so we got Mr. Perfect, who I used to watch when I trained, who's in my Mount Rushmore. By the way, my Mount Rushmore, since I always talk about it, Perfect, Regal, Steamboat, Eddie Guerrero.
Alrighty.
That's my Mount Rushmore. Just because everybody who knows me and knows the style I wanted to wrestle and the style I like to watch on TV, 100% all four of those are on brand for me.
Got it.
Anybody that knows me knows that all those make sense. Mm-hmm. So, speaking of charges of Bobby Heenan, our next match, and this would be our quote-unquote big match of the night, the Narcissist, or as Bobby Heenan would call him, the Narcissist, Lex Luger versus Crush. And I'm actually kind of excited about this because both of these dudes are just brawling big dudes. Mm-hmm. And it's a nice power versus power that's not just two big lumbering dudes. So like I said, I was excited to see this. These are just two brawling dudes that are just... And especially at this time, Crush was stupid agile for a man that size.
And yeah, they're shoving each other all over the ring. Just absolute muscle mass. Like, they're just shoving each other.
Yeah, like, here's the thing, especially, and they mentioned this, Lex Luger didn't get shoved around like that very often, ever.
Right.
And I like that they did do a test of strength where I would say it's pretty much even, but, you know, they kind of give the little nudge to Crush because he's the good guy. And the part that impressed me with that is that Crush press slammed Luger like he was nothing.
Yeah, right after that, Luger GTFO'd all the way back to the entryway, but he came back.
Yeah, because, like I said, Luger was not a small dude.
No, not at all.
So for a guy to just be like, yoink, and there was no struggle to get Luger up either.
Right, and when you do that, you're holding their entire weight on your own. They're not assisting you.
And he was up. His arms were full extension too.
Yeah.
And there was a nice, this is why I love Bobby, where he called all the Hawaiians stupid. And they're like, why would you call it stupid? He goes, because there are only 12 letters in the alphabet.
Right.
Which is funny because anybody that knows Hawaiian or like the Hawaiian alphabet, there is only legitimately like 12 letters. Mm-hmm. But I just think it's funny. Bobby's like, oh, they're stupid. They don't even have like half the letters in the alphabet. I'm just like, God damn it, Bobby.
Yeah.
He's such a refresh.
Refreshing change of pace from Rob Bartlett's incompetence.
Yeah. So we get a nice power slam from Luger. We go back and forth a little bit more. And then Crush locks in the cranium crush, and he's got that locked in deep.
Yeah, that looks painful.
Like, Crush had that thing locked. Like, he had the match won. And this is where Crush looked like an idiot. And I get, apparently, here comes Doink, because apparently he's interfering every week. To different people. We had Tatanka 2 weeks ago, we had Bam Bam this week, and now we're maybe continuing the Crush angle. Because he didn't come to ringside. Like I said, Luger was limp. Like, Crush had this match won. And let's go. Why would you? You have this guy that hasn't been beat yet. Beat. And you look up in the not in the rafters, but like up in the balcony, you saw Doink. He looked up at the other side of the rafters, you saw another Doink. So he let go. He had the match won, he let go. He's yelling at these Doinks that are not even remotely close to him.
Yeah, trying to call him out, call him down to the ring.
Exactly, which you know they're not going to. Luger comes from behind with the forearm, which we've established that Jack Tunney said his forearm is...
allowed.
For lack of a better term, street legal.
Okay.
Allowed, street legal. He's allowed to use the arm because it's... And like we discussed before, that legitimately has a surgically repaired arm. That's a legitimate thing from a motorcycle accident. Mm-hmm. He hits Crush with the forearm, knocks him out to the outside of the ring, and he wins by countout. Yeah,
that took 10 minutes, 49 seconds. It was a great match, but I hated the ending.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I thought it was a good match. Nice back and forth. You know, that ending just really knocked it down a couple notches for him because Crush looked so stupid.
Yeah, like, duh.
Exactly. So we come back and we get our first commercial for King of the Ring, which is actually happening the day before my birthday.
Right, June 13th.
Yep, day before my birthday, 93. I turned 11. So they announced the first two qualifying matches on Superstars. We're going to get Doink versus Mr. Perfect and Lex Luger versus Bob Backlund. The winners of these will go on to the pay-per-view because it's a one-man tournament. And here's the thing, a lot of people don't realize that the pay-per-view itself didn't happen until 93.
Right.
The concept of King of the Ring happened back into the mid-'80s. It was usually like a special house show. It was a one-day tournament that you would win it. And then, like, if you watch the old 80s, like, you would see, like, this is where you got the Macho King Randy Savage. You had King Hacksaw, King Haku, King Harley Race.
Right.
All these guys that would win it, and they would be the king for the rest of the year. And they would go around as the king. but it was never a pay-per-view until 93. But it had been going on since the 80s.
Got it.
So, we get into our next match, Mr. Hughes versus Jason Knight. Now, Mr. Hughes, he had gone back and forth a lot of times between WCW and WWF, back and forth, especially in the 90s, and you would see him. A lot of people might recognize him from Chris Jericho's initial run when he first debuted in the WWF. He was kind of like Chris Jericho's Heavy.
Mm-hmm.
He was also one of Hunter Hearst Helmsley's early bodyguards. He did some stuff in WCW, tag team with Junkyard Dog, who we'll see in WCW later on in the episode. And just recently retired. He opened up a very successful school in Georgia.
Good for him.
Basically wrestled all over the world. Like, this was a guy he's seen it all.
Yeah.
And then Jason Knight, a lot of people are going to know him specifically. He was known in his time in ECW. He was known as the sexiest man in the world, Jason.
I see.
Primarily known to be a cohort of the Impact Players, which was Just Incredible and Lance Storm. So this is before his popularity, before his most known form, I guess you would call it.
His best gimmick.
Exactly. What he's most known for. That's what I was thinking of. And there was just this funny thing where Bobby has another TV. He's trying to find something else to watch, and he's watching TNT, the Braves game on TBS, Scrambled Porn. He was trying to watch Scrambled Porn. He's like, oh, I think I see some. Vince is like, what are you doing? Turn that. And he's flipping through. He lands on the Baby Got Back music video and watches that for a couple extra seconds. So I think Bobby likes some cake. Bobby's a cake eater. All right.
I loved that whole thing. It added something to a match that was just a complete domination.
Yeah, and this was Mr. Hughes' debut. So we knew who was going to win. This is not going to last long. He got a quick... I call it the Boss Man Slam because that's basically what the Boss Man was known for. Boss Man Slam, kind of like me, a little bit of the Black Hole Slam, a little bit variation. So, but yeah, basically he had the Boss Man Slam for the win.
Yeah, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. That looks like a Uranagi to me.
Uranagi, like, yeah, there's some variation of the Boss Man, Uranagi, Black Hole variation.
Okay.
And then we did a quick vignette of the Smoking Guns, some cowboys that are riding on horses. And this will be their gimmick as the Cowboys. This was actually, for the time, one of the more popular tag teams for a while in the WWF. We had Bart Gunn, and then we had Daddy Ass himself, Billy Gunn.
I thought that was going to be him, but I wasn't 100% sure.
That was Daddy Ass himself.
Alrighty.
This was how he debuted. He was a cowboy.
Did not know that.
Uh-huh. Him and Bart Gunn. And fun fact, I was reading, used to read magazines for wrestling magazines ever since I was a kid. When Billy Gunn went to college, he went to college on a rodeo scholarship.
Really?
So my man knows how to ride a horse. Okay, so we're back from commercial, and we got Vince in the ring. We're going to have a promo with the Intercontinental Champion, Shawn Michaels, which you know is never going to be a bad thing on the mic.
Absolutely not.
He's actually going to be defending next week against Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who says later on the show never had a title shot before.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was just one of those guys. He was never one of those that got title shots. He was always popular. He was always the guy. He was kind of like he was over without getting a title shot.
Okay, yeah, I see how that would happen.
Okay. So, and then you see Shawn Michaels, and you know how a lot of times you can, like, I like to pick up on, subtle things they're talking about that maybe not go over somebody's head like 30 years later.
Right.
This is what happened, because, I'm very curious. Mm-hmm. Shawn Michaels talks about something, he goes, oh, hey, look at those guys. I bet those guys were at the march in Washington yesterday. I had to look that up. That was a gay joke.
Oh.
Because what I looked it up, I was like, marches in Washington in 93. And he goes, yeah, basically, there was a march for gay and lesbian rights in Washington, D.C. the day before.
Okay.
So he was basically telling a network-friendly way of telling them that these guys are gay to their face.
Oh, my gosh.
And then the crowd responds, but with a, Shawn is gay. Shawn is gay. For a while, I mean, they had the limp wrists, everything. Like, this promo would not have happened today.
I was wondering where Shawn is gay came from, but yeah, thank you for the context.
Because I was curious. I was like, what march? Well, like, it wasn't the Million Man March, because that was like 96, I think. But yeah, that's what that was. It was Shawn being subtle about calling these guys a couple of gays.
Yeah.
And nice, what I liked how about Bobby, this is why Bobby was so good, he was so quick. He's like, no, they're saying, can you hear the crowd? They're going, Shawn is great. Shawn is great.
Oh.
Shawn is great. That was Bobby trying to cover it up. That just shows you how good and how quick on his feet Bobby was.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so he starts talking about Perfect, because we're figuring that, we're going towards the Mr. Perfect Shawn Michaels feud, which I am not having a problem with that.
No, I'm sure it's going to be great.
Yeah. So who comes to the ring, and it takes about 14 people to keep them apart, which does not work.
Never does.
So we come back from commercial. We get a couple of guys that played for the New York Giants in the crowd. I'm not a Giants fan, so I'm not familiar with a lot of the Giants names up until like the more popular names. So I had no idea who these guys were, but I just know they played for the Giants.
I didn't know anything about them either.
Yeah, I'm a 49. Go Niners.
Go Browns.
They're playing this year. I think you and I need to throw some money down.
Ooh.
Not only are they playing the Browns this year, because they're playing every team in the AFC Central this year.
Mm-hmm.
Our mutual friend, who's a Cowboys fan, they're playing the Cowboys this year, too.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I think we all need to get together and have some talks.
Alrighty, we'll see where that goes.
We'll see where it goes. I know one thing, I know where the 49ers are going and the Browns aren't going.
Where are they going?
The playoffs.
Honestly, I wasn't a big fan of the Browns last year because Deshaun Watson is not worth the baggage.
No. And then there's people like me who, we just need to have a healthy quarterback because we got Garoppolo, we got Trey Lance, who I think still has potential, but I haven't seen a lot of him yet. Brock Purdy just blew up out of nowhere last year. We just need to figure out who's going to be the starting quarterback.
Right.
Anyways, before we go off on another tangent, so they go to a moment over the weekend where Sherry had interrupted an interview from Bam Bam Bigelow, who looked like he was getting ready to harm her thusly, and she was saved by Tatanka.
Yeah, then later in the program, Bigelow attacked Tatanka before his match.
Yeah, it looked like he was cutting some of the hair off.
Yeah.
So apparently it looks like we're going towards like a Bam Bam Tatanka feud.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, once again, like I said, we've talked about how much of a fan I am of Bam Bam. I still like Tatanka, watching Tatanka stuff from when I was a kid. I really liked him, and I still like him now, so to me, Tatanka holds up.
Mm-hmm.
Last match of the night. Typhoon versus Von Crush, Von Cruz, Big Vito. He's been around for years.
Yeah.
He still does the occasional indie spot to this day.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason you see guys like him, all the time on TV. You get the Iron Mike Sharps, Von Crushes. You get a lot of the same guys in WCWs because it's very easy to make yourself look good. Because it's not hard to make yourself look good. It's less easy to make the other person look good. Because if you make the other person look bad and you look good, the match sucks.
Gotcha.
If you make the other guy look good while you look good, the match is going to be better. Like these matches are going to be 2-3 minutes. So you have only a couple minutes to make the other guy look good, especially in with you losing.
Right. So it takes a different skill set than just making yourself look good.
Yeah, because if you only get yourself over, that's one person. But if you make the other guy look good, you just got two people over.
Right.
So, and that's what he was good for back in the day. He knew how to make the other guy look good, and he did. Like both guys look good in this. Even for a couple minutes. Yeah, and especially the moment where Typhoon just hit this real stiff-sounding clothesline. Like, you heard meat on meat.
Yeah, I heard that. That sounded painful.
Yeah, and then, during this match, we got comments. This is where Jim Duggan talks about how this was the first title match he ever got from telephone. How he's going to give Shawn Michaels the what for next week.
Mm-hmm.
And during this whole match, you can just tell how Bobby was just talking about how he always, if Duggan was here, he'd knock his lazy eye straight. Like, Bobby was great.
Yeah, the banter in this sequence was amazing.
Yeah, Bobby was like that week after week after week after week. So we go through, like I said, this was just a quick match. Typhoon got the big splash for the win.
Yep, 2 minutes, 39.
Yeah, once again, this was mainly just to, make Typhoon look good and talk about the Duggan match for next week.
Right.
And then we get to the end of the show where Bobby talks about the couple that, we talked about earlier in the episode and talking about how they've gone to him a couple times throughout the show, how the gentleman's going to be proposing to the lady. And, of course, they give Bobby Heenan the job of this, and just the way he talks to these people, it's fantastic. And he's like, how many women have you been with before? Oh, this is my first. How many men have you been for? Oh, this is my first. How do you guys even know? Like, how do you guys know you're even sexually compatible? I lost it.
Yeah, it was a little crass, but not too bad.
But that's what Bobby did. Like he knew where he went. He knew where he was on the mic all the time.
Right.
He never went past where he needed to be. Mm-hmm. And thankfully she says yes, because if not, this would have been extremely awkward.
Yeah.
So, and then at the end of the show, Vince announced that next week we're going to get the title match, we're getting Kamala, and we're going to get the Head Shrinkers.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, like I liked this episode of Raw. This was great.
This was solid. I would rate this a B.
Yeah, a B. Obviously, my favorite match was the Lex Luger Crush match, minus the ending.
I'm going to agree with that. That was a good match.
So, we're going into WCW Saturday night of May 1st, 1993. We're about 2 to 3 weeks out from the first Slamboree. And we get a tag match with Dave Hart and Mike Winter against the new tag team known as the Black Hearts. And that entrance was weird.
Very weird.
And I think Jesse even said it was almost erotic. And I was like, kinda, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it like that.
There was some stuff in there was like, this is a little weird. Now, the Blackhearts was a tag team. They did a lot of Stampede and everywhere else. And you could easily tell them apart. Because one was a taller, skinnier one, and one was a little bit shorter, and he was a little bit more stockier.
Right.
The taller guy was a guy named Tom Nash. And the other one, he was the shorter, a little bit more stockier one, was David Heath, who many people now know as the future Gangrel. That's Gangrel years before he was Gangrel.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And who's, like I said, I don't know if Tom Nash is doing anything right now, but I know Gangrel still does plenty of indie shows. Actually has a school down in Florida, so he's still very active in wrestling. Cool. So, but yeah, you can easily tell, once you look at him, you can easily tell them apart. They're talking about, oh, Tony, it's like the Cole twins, and I'm like, no, it's much easier to tell these guys apart, very much so. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I noticed, and then I think it was Tony that brought it up, was the screeching. They did a lot of screeching.
Yeah, I could hear that.
Yeah, and it was weird. Like, this tag team is weird.
Very weird.
Even I was like, okay.
Yeah, on the whole, the tag team chemistry was really on point in this match.
Yeah, I mean, this was basically just there to get the Blackhearts over, who did this weird powerbomb, neck breaker, elbow drop combo finisher for the win. It was very weird.
Yeah. That took 3 minutes, 21 seconds.
Yeah, like I was kind of iffy on this.
It was there.
It was there. It wasn't bad, but it was there.
Yeah.
And then we come back from commercial with Jesse and Tony, and while they're talking about stuff that's going to be going on tonight, out comes Paul Orndorff, because not only are we getting a rematch for the TV title that we got last week with Ron Simmons, now it's a 15-minute time limit match, so he has a full 15 minutes to win.
Yeah. Paul Orndorff is not happy.
No.
I would not want to piss that man off.
No. So we go into our next, talk about weird tag teams, or just out-of-place partners. We get the Junkyard Dog and Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
This was a little on the weird side, but I've never seen either of these guys before, so...
Even weird, because everybody knows how Junkyard Dog was, and then Jim Neidhart was the other half of the Hart Foundation with Bret Hart.
Right.
But this is a weird pairing. You're just like, okay. Watch. And they go up against Chick Donovan and Rip Rogers. And during this, I think like they're still promoting all the legends, because we're coming up to Slamboree here in a couple weeks. Dirty Dick Slater, who used to be a big rival of JYD, comes down, just scoping out the area. He has no impact on the match. He doesn't interfere. He doesn't say anything. They just show him in one of the picture-in-pictures, and that's it. Like, you really don't see anything about Dick Slater.
Yeah, I do not know anything about this wrestler.
Yeah. I love me some Anvil. Like, this was just as technical as Bret Hart was. Jim Neidhart was all power, and you could see that easily.
Yeah, he was throwing drops. There was a spot where he hit an atomic drop and JYD hit a slam. That was nice.
Yeah, like they worked well together, and people don't realize that we're talking about, like, you and I talked about this off air the other day. How I'm a huge fan of Mid-South Wrestling, which you can find that on Peacock right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember talking about that.
Yeah, Junkyard Dog was like the man in Mid-South, which was different because you got to consider this was the late 70s, early 80s in the Deep South.
Right, some remnants of racism, that post-civil rights movement.
Yeah, but not only was he huge, he actually he drew money for Mid-South. Especially there was a match they had in the Superdome in New Orleans. It was him versus Michael Hayes of the Freebirds.
Oh, wow.
Like Junkyard Dog in Mid-South was the man.
Cool.
He actually used to come out to another one, Bites the Dust by Queen.
Oh, that's also neat.
Yeah, which, I mean, like, you watch it on the WWE Network, Peacock, anything like that, you're not going to hear it. They're going to do some weird instrumental thing, but yeah, that was his theme song back then.
Cool.
But, by the way, they go through we knew how this was going to end. Junkyard Dog lands the big thump power slam, and then even I wasn't aware of this. Maybe he did this, like, in the Stampede or, like, pre-WWE. Jim Neidhart locks in a Cobra Clutch. He calls it I guess they call it the Anvilizer. That Tony said that, he was known for this. And I was like, I don't remember him ever using this. This might have been like early Neidhart that I don't remember watching. But he locks in the Cobra Clutch called the Anvilizer for the win.
4 minutes, 20 seconds. This was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
So we go to the Slamboree Control Center with Eric Bischoff. And they're already announcing the match. They announced last week Vader Bulldog for the world title, and then Barry Windham, Arn Anderson for the NWA world title. Mm-hmm. And they go to Gordon Solie, who announces more legends. Vern Gagne, who actually ran the AWA back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
That I didn't know.
Yeah. His son, Greg Gagne. Nick Bockwinkel, who... Look up Nick Bockwinkel matches, so good. His promos were good. Like, this was... I'm a big fan of Nick Bockwinkel.
Yeah, we got a quick look at one of his matches as this segment was going on, and he looked amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And then, somebody that we just saw on Raw a week or two ago, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell's going to be there.
Right, I forgot he was on that Raw.
Yeah, he was actually a tag team with Greg Gagne. They were known as the High Flyers in AWA.
Cool.
So, and they're going to announce, they throw back to Eric, who announced a couple more matches. We're getting... the Hollywood Blondes versus Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas in a cage for the tag titles.
That's going to be good.
We're going to get Too Cold Scorpio and Bagwell, a tag team that you and I both love, versus Bobby Eaton and Chris Benoit, which that should be a good match.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well.
And then we're also getting Sting in action. We haven't announced his opponent yet, but we will have Sting in action. We haven't seen him in a few weeks. Mm-hmm. And then, speaking of the Hollywood Blondes, we get the Hollywood Blondes going up against... Italian Stallion and Rex Cooper. And Tony's all excited that we're getting Blackjack Mulligan in the commentary booth a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that as soon as he said it.
Yeah. So we get some pretty pre-recorded comments from the tag champs about how, what they did to Steamboat and Douglas when they took the titles. And like I said, this is just a quick match, making the champs look good. And they hit the Atomic Blondes with an S, which is actually a double splash off the top rope for the quick win.
Yeah, 3 minutes, 19 seconds, and that ending was really cool.
Yeah, very cool move. And then we get back from commercial with Jesse and Tony, and they go to the training room about what happened. They show what happened to Cactus Jack last week about him, the sick power bomb, getting loaded up in the ambulance and everything. And Tony is backstage with the training room with one of the athletic trainers. And I have a feeling this guy was an actual, athletic trainer, because just the way he talked, I was like, he was not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was very genuine to me. Like, he wasn't quite scripted. Maybe guided would be a better word.
Maybe guided, but this guy was not like, oh, I'm Joe Doctor, the doctor for the thing, and I know how to talk on the mic. Like, this guy seemed like he legitimately was one of the athletic trainers.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
And he says that Cactus Jack suffered a severe concussion, and he's been kind of going woozy in and out lately. And so we'll just see what's going to happen from that.
Yeah.
And then we get our next match. Scott Norton, good old Flash. Oh, savior of the universe. Yeah, I did. I did a Flash Gordon reference. I love that movie.
Haven't seen it.
Rather enjoyed that movie. Versus the Z-Man. And we get freaking Norton just doing a one-handed Beal. Like, he just threw him across the ring with one arm.
Yeah, this was a mugging.
Yeah, absorbed all the damage. He sorted all that kinetic damage like freaking Black Panther. One clothesline, power slam, match is over.
1 minute, 20 seconds.
I loved it. Because we're just doing this just to get Scott Norton over as this dude that just can't be stopped.
Yeah, like you were saying, Z-Man made himself look good in the offense he was able to get. He just couldn't affect a man Flash's size, and he made Flash look good too.
Yeah, because he was hitting the drop kicks and the super kicks that he was known for, and Norton's just sitting just unfazed.
You see, the mismatch in their mass, their weight, just he didn't have it.
Yeah, that's why, like, when you do it right, a small man, big man match is so great.
Agreed.
So Jesse's down there talking to Scott Norton, who's still yelling about demanding respect, and he's going to take respect if they won't give it to him. And out of nowhere comes Colonel Robert Parker.
Yeah, this threw me.
Robert Parker, he was a manager, and we'll see later on who he does manage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll see later on. I don't want to spoil it, especially since his charge comes at Slamboree.
Okay.
So we come back from commercial. He's now with Tony. He actually reminds me of, and I know this is a weird one, I think this came from the Fairly Odd Parents, Doug Dimmadome.
I've never seen Fairly Odd Parents, so that reference is lost on me.
Yeah, it's like, just look up Doug Dimmadome, and this is what he kind of looked like. He's like, oh, I'm from the deep south. How y'all doing? I got my Colonel Sanders suit on with my cigar and my cowboy hat. But basically, he's out here, he's going to promote the greatest wrestler of all time. Tony's expressions on here were priceless.
Yeah, he was flummoxed, it looked like.
Yeah, and he's like, the fuck is this dude? So we go to our next match. Barry Windham versus Pez Whatley. I'm a little bit familiar with Pez because he did a lot of Mid-Atlantic stuff back in the late 70s, early 80s. Like, you know, the Mid-Atlantic, Jim Crockett Promotions, like pre-WCW stuff. So I know him somewhat.
Okay.
But I like how Jesse kept trying to sneak out, because he was talking shit to about Blackjack Mulligan, because we knew he was coming out.
Right.
And Jesse was like, oh, I gotta go, they're filming on Sundays. Tony's like, they don't film on Sundays. Like, oh, well, it's Sylvester Stallone called me, and I gotta go. And he was trying to sneak out before Mulligan. I was like, I like this. This is why I like Jesse at this point.
It was a funny little spot.
Yeah, and then, like I said, match, this was one of those that the match was less important than the commentary. This was just to get Barry Windham over for Slamboree. A little bit of a back and forth match, but he had the implant DDT for the win.
Yeah, that took 4 minutes 13. It was better than I was expecting. I was expecting just a straight up squash.
But like I said, Pez Whatley, like I knew him. I knew there was going to be a little bit more from it because I knew of him from like Mid-Atlantic and like you could be able to watch some of the early Starcades on Peacock. You can see that he was a good face back in the day.
Gotcha.
So we get another Slamboree promo from the Assassin. Loved it.
Very good.
Like, he was spouting a lot of the same stuff Gordon said about what legends were going to be there that they announced this week, and just the way he was talking about Dusty Rhodes, I was like, I loved this promo from the Assassin.
Yeah, how do you do the chef's kiss, John? Mwah?
Mwah.
Yeah, so he calls out Dusty Rhodes and also says Ole Anderson is going to appear next week.
Yeah, Ole Anderson, who was one of the original Four Horsemen.
Oh.
It's Ole, not Ole.
Ole.
But yeah, like, I need myself to watch more Assassin promos, because this was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So we get our first of the segment, Flair for the Gold. This is actually a interview segment with Ric Flair, which they kind of did this because Ric Flair had the non-compete clause where he couldn't wrestle.
Right.
So basically, this is kind of the got around that by having him on TV before he could wrestle. Was they had his own interview segment.
Got it.
And if you get Ric Flair a mic and just let him go, especially back then, gold.
Yeah, he was talking himself up for quite a while, and I bought every word.
He introduces Fifi, the French maid, which, she looks like a French maid.
Very cute.
By the way, also his current wife now, as of 2023.
Oh, really? He married her?
Yeah, that's Wendy, his current wife. And he introduces Big Van Vader and Harley Race. I absolutely fucking love this whole segment, because you got Ric Flair. Everybody knows what Ric Flair does. He's got the suit. Harley Race came up at the same time as Ric Flair. They had battles together. He's got the nice suit, the way he speaks. And then you got Vader.
Oh, yeah, just all business.
It was just, hi, woo! And Harley Race like, yeah, I'm here to kick ass. And Vader's like, yeah, Vader time! Blah. Fucking love this. I was grinning the whole segment.
Yeah, it was something, all right.
Yeah, he tries to take a drink, and he's like, here, have a drink, big man. Oh, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, Fifi, get him some food. And she's like, no, don't take all of it. He's like, give me the food. And then he grabs Ric Flair, and he's like, watch out, buddy. This is $1,000 suit. Just So mismatched and out of place, and I absolutely adored this promo.
Yeah, it was a something, all right.
It was a lot of fun. And this even isn't the craziest Flair for the Gold. We'll get to that later on this year.
Oh, boy.
One of the all-time Russell crap moments came from Flair from the Gold.
Cool.
And I think once you realize what it is, because I know you've seen it, because you've seen enough of the Russell crap stuff, or the Spotchmania stuff, you'll know what it is when we get there.
Okay.
Trust me, it's Russell crap royalty.
Oh, boy.
So we get back to commercial, and the part I'm excited for, Tony introduces Blackjack Mulligan, and oh my god, even in 93. Like, I've seen some of his matches. I wasn't too familiar with his promo stuff. I've just seen a lot of the Blackjacks as a tag team in their matches. My man can spit.
Yeah, his commentary throughout the rest of the show was amazing.
Like, he just pulls you in, and you're just... Every word he said, I love this.
Yes.
And then while they're doing this interview, there's a brawl that gets into our 8-man tag, so we're going straight into the Cold Twins, 2 Cold Scorpio, and Marcus Bagwell versus Tex Slasher, Shanghai Pierce, and the Wrecking Crew, and all 8 men are in this. All 8 men are in the ring to start.
Oh yeah, this is just nuts.
Yeah, there was so much that happened in this match because we have a short amount of time, and then everybody needed to get their stuff in. There was a lot that we can't tell you everything that happened in this match.
Yeah, I'm going to use my word. This was exceptionally dense.
Yes. And the best part about this, honestly, was just Blackjack Mulligan going off. He was cheering for both teams. He was talking to Tony. He was putting over Slamboree. Everything.
Yeah, he did it all in this match.
He could have called this match by himself.
I believe it.
So we got a back and forth before one of the heels comes off the top rope with
Flying nothing.
Flying nothing. And then it just breaks down at the end, and at the end, Schlesinger looks like he's getting ready to hit one of the Colts with a bull rope, who gets it and just waylays all the bad guys, which causes a DQ, so the heels win the match.
9 minutes, 37 seconds, and this was great.
Yeah, I liked it. It was just controlled chaos.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Like, if we tried to explain every little thing that happened, we'd be here forever.
Yeah, it was just... This is one you really have to see for yourself.
Yeah. So we get into our main event for the night. The TV title match, a rematch from last week. Ron Simmons versus the TV champion, Paul Orndorff, with a 15-minute time limit this week. And the title is up for grabs for the duration of the 15 minutes.
Yes.
So we go to, a lot of the... At first, I'll say this, at first, I didn't have any problems with this match. A lot of the stuff, same as last week, but I didn't have any problems with it. We come back for a commercial, because earlier in the night, Dustin Rhodes was in the trainer's area. Dusty was there, so we get an appearance of Dusty, which, once again, Dusty on TV is never a problem.
No, never.
Everything's upturned, it's a mess.
Yeah, complete disarray.
Yeah, and it just seemed like the announcer was like, yep, 5 minutes left, and I'm like, already?
Yeah, that was fast.
I don't know, we also got to consider, I think there was a commercial, too, so you got a few of the minutes. We have to take consideration the commercial as well.
Yeah, I measured based on the time spots called in the match. We lost about 90 seconds to that commercial break.
But still, it seemed like that seemed a lot less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it got to this, by the time you realized 5 minutes had already left, I was like, honestly, I liked last week's match a lot better.
Yeah, this one went on a little too long, but I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, there was nothing bad about it, but it was just because neither one of these guys are bad wrestlers at all. They're both in the Hall of Fame for a reason.
Right.
But this is just one... in the match you can get 2 great guys. You can have a match that's great one night, and the next night it just doesn't work.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't click.
Yeah, and this one didn't click. But to me, the ending was great. As much as I didn't like the ending to Crush and Lex Luger, I liked the match better than the ending.
Right.
This was the opposite. I liked the ending better than the match.
Yeah, the ending was really good on this match.
Yeah, so we get an eye poke that led eye poke to Ron Simmons, which led to a ref bump. So Orndorff pulls out a pair of brass knuckles from his trunks, and he goes to hit Ron Simmons, who blocks the punch, grabs it, clocks Orndorff with it, and then pins him to win the title. So we have a title change, ladies and gentlemen, where Ron Simmons is the new television champion.
That took 12 minutes, 28 seconds.
But, however, as the ref raises his hand, the ref sees that Ron Simmons still has the brass knuckles in his hand.
Whoops.
Whoopsie daisy. So he actually reverses the decision, and Paul Orndorff keeps the title.
Yeah, Simmons has no one to blame but himself for that.
Yep. I love this ending. It was clever. I still, even though he had the mistake, I don't think he looked as stupid as Crush did.
Agreed, 100%.
Because this was something, Ron Simmons being the face he was, maybe he doesn't, he's not used to using brass knuckles as much during this point. So I could see where he oh shit, I forgot. Fuck, I just lost my title.
Right.
So yeah, he looked better in defeat than Crush did.
Agreed.
So, and then we get into, what I thought was the last match. They're going to announce Dustin Rhodes for his next match. We don't know who the guy was. They never say who his opponent was. Because Dustin never comes out to the ring, but Rick Rude comes out as what he calls, and my mom used to call these clothes. He comes out in the nice suit. He calls it the Sunday go to meeting clothes.
Ah.
My mom used to say that. Your church clothes.
Right.
The Sunday go to meeting clothes. And I just remember my mom used to say that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, basically he's the reason, Rick Rude is basically the reason the trainers area was overturned.
Right. He attacked Dustin Rhodes back there, but we don't see it.
Yeah, so Rhodes comes out, the bandage is all fucked up, the guys are trying to hold him back. Dustin Rhodes is always ready for a fight.
Yeah, Rick Rude's talking mad trash here.
Yeah, and Dusty comes out to try to stop it, and then he gets past Dusty, and all hell breaks loose. And you thought there was a lot of people trying to break out Mr. Perfect and Shawn Michaels on Raw.
Woo. Yeah, this was way bigger.
Oh, I'm looking forward to watching these guys lock horns.
Yep, and then show ends with Blackjack Mulligan saying he wants in on this action.
Yeah, yeah. If there's a brawl of Blackjack Mulligan's coming in, I've seen his matches. I'm getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah, not so much.
I ain't trying to fight a man. So, but you know what? Overall, both shows were good.
Agreed. I would give a B plus to Saturday Night this time, just slight edge.
Yeah, and honestly, if I had to pick my favorite match for this, honestly, Junkyard Dog and Jim Neidhart, honestly. Their tag match was my favorite one.
I'm going to go with a 1A, 1B for WCW with that and the Orndorff-Simmons match.
Okay, yeah. It just went way too quick and not a lot happened for me to like that one as much as I did last week. But I did love the ending.
Agreed. The ending was great.
Yeah. Overall match between both shows is, this is a tough one. I would probably have to give it to the Lex Luger Crush by a little bit just because before the ending, I really enjoyed that match.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that 100%.
So, okay, yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up next week on the show, all the matches they announced for Raw, and like I said, we're about 2 to 3 weeks out from the first ever Slamboree. So, as always, we like to show you the top songs and the top movies of the week of 1993. Right now, I'm looking at the movies from April 23rd to April 29th, and what we always start with the music. And I believe you said last week, Bach, we got new songs in the top 5.
We do.
All right. Take it away, sir.
We're using the Hot 100 from May 1st.
Okay.
And going from 5 to 1, number 5 is a new entry. Don't Walk Away by Jade has fallen to number 6.
Okay.
Number 5 is Love Is from Beverly Hills 90210 by Vanessa Williams and Brian McKnight.
Know the show, don't remember the song.
Mm-hmm. Number 4 is still I Have Nothing by Whitney Houston.
Great song.
Number 3 is still Nothing But a G-Thang by Dr. Dre.
Love that song.
Number 2, Informer has dropped from 1 to 2.
Uh-oh.
And number 1, Freak Me by Silk has gone up from 2 to 1.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I listened to all of them. Freak Me is not my kind of sex jam.
Yeah. You like that wee-woo shit.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay, we actually have we have 2 new movies in the top 5. Actually, 3 out of the top 6 are new movies.
Mm-hmm.
But we go top 5. Number 5 is a movie that comes in at $4.3 million for its first week. A movie called Indian Summer. I am not familiar with this.
I'm not either.
But the synopsis is, it looks like it's a live-action movie. Like I said, we'll put all the trailers and music videos for the new stuff on the Twitter page so you guys can enjoy it too. 7 friends reunite for a week-long reunion at a summer camp in Ontario they used to attend as children, which is now threatened with being closed down.
I like that concept.
Looks kind of cool. I'll have to see the trailer. I don't know if this is something I would watch normally, but you never know. And by the way, I'm using Box Office Mojo from IMDb, and if anything If any site knows about movie stuff, it'd definitely be IMDb. Number 4, dropped from number 2, is The Sandlot, with $4.5 million, with a grand total in 3 weeks of $18.4 million.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, what actually went up a spot from number 4, because it added 902 screens,
mm-hmm.
and it actually went up with the money it made from the week prior, is Benny and June, the Johnny Depp movie, made $4.9 million for a grand total of 9.2 in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then we have number 2 is our new movie, Who's the Man? $5.3 million. This is I would watch this. The trailer, I don't know if this seems like a movie I would watch, but it's the genre is comedy, drama, mystery, thriller. All right. The 2 worst barbers in Harlem become cops while a real estate developer forces people out of Harlem.
Oh, I have memories of a trailer for that movie on a VHS we used to have. It's got Dr. Dre and Ed Lover in it, doesn't it?
Yeah. By God, you know what scares the shit out of me is you know who Dr. Dre and Ed Lover are. That frightens me.
So yeah, I have very clear memories of that trailer for some reason.
Like, I know who Dr. Dre and Ed Lover are, but the fact that you do, that's the biggest surprise of the week.
I only know Ed Lover's name because of that trailer. But obviously Dr. Dre is ubiquitous.
So yeah, but like, it's not the Dr. Dre you think it is. Different Dr. Dre.
Oh, really? Didn't realize that.
Yeah. Coming in at number 1 with $12.9 million still. 3 weeks in, still at number 1, is Indecent Proposal with so far a total gross of $64.3 million. This thing's still at number 1.
That's really impressive.
Yeah. So we like to do the biggest drop and the biggest gain every week too. Just so you can see where when you get it, like when you go from limited release to wide release, you're always gonna have a big jump.
Right.
And then movies drop. Movies are always gonna drop week to week because usually the first couple weeks are gonna make most of your money. The biggest drop is actually a movie that was in the top. That was number 3. Dropped to number 8 this week. Boiling Point, the Wesley Snipes movie from last week, dropped 52.5% from last week. But the biggest jump, and this comes with an extra 766 screens, and this is when I say when you go from limited release to wide release. This Boy's Life. This was a movie that had early Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. It was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on a true story. It gained, it gained $1.9 million with an increase of 1,369.8%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really drives home how much more you can do going from limited to wide.
Exactly. And then you can also see big drops from week to week too.
Right.
And we're actually going to see a movie coming up here in a few weeks that starts out. It'll make the top 5 after its first few weeks. It makes the top 5.
Oh, neat.
Which is fun. Well, it's already in the theaters. Put it this way, it's already in the theaters right now, and within a couple weeks it'll make the top 5 because it'll. Right now, we'll just put it this way. Right now, it's only in 150 screens.
Okay.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Lord, for coming out to this episode of Dropkicks and Attractions. You can find us on the podcast at capital D and capital A Podcast 1 on Twitter. We're going to put all the trailers, music videos. We like to put in occasional matches and promo stuff we like.
Oh yeah.
You can listen to us on YouTube, Rumble, video wise, and then if you listen to podcast sites, you're going to listen to us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Good Pods, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Where can they find you, Bach?
I can be found at Big Boct, BIGBOCT, on most socials. I primarily use Twitch and Twitter.
Okay. And you can find me at Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok, all at Xander Invictus.
Alrighty, that's been the Dropkicks and Attractions podcast. See you next mission.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you next week.